Okay, with this drawing, number 2, I've already worked through all of this because it's pretty much just the same as the other drawing. Started with the front view, got everything I could in there. You can't, well, I didn't do this part because this is what I want to show you about how to do. Projected over to my right side view to get it in. Projected up to my top view to get it. One thing I do want to address is your hidden lines. These hidden lines right here are for this hole that goes all the way through the object. And this hole does not intersect this surface plane. Okay, so what we would do is we leave a gap or a space between the ends of the hidden lines because it does not intersect that surface plane. It does intersect here, and of course the rear over here, so the hidden line should connect to these edges here. Same way up here in the top view, this hole going through does not intersect this plane, and it does not intersect the hole going in this direction. You know, this hole and this hole do not intersect. So we leave a gap between the hidden lines to show that they do not intersect. Okay, now this down here, we have an angle of 47 degrees, and it's 0.5 inches down from the top. So in drawing angles, there are several different tools that you can excuse me, that you can use. If you have an angle of 15 degrees or 75 degrees, you can use both a 30 and a 45 triangle together. And so this would give you 15 degrees down. You can flip them over. That'd give you 75 degrees. So you just have to figure out how to position those to get a 15 or 75. Most common that you're going to end up using is going to be a protractor, and you probably remember these from back in middle school or whenever. Another tool is what we call an adjustable triangle, and it's kind of hard to see with the drawing in the background. And so now I don't recommend you go buy one of these. I had one because I used to do lots of drafting back several years ago. And so you would just set your angle here to what you need, and then you lock it down, and then you draw with that. Okay. One thing to understand with this is, if you remember back in geometry, when you have opposing angles, if we have a, come on, pencil. We have a line, two lines that intersect. This angle and this angle are equal. Okay, and then that means this angle and this angle are equal. And then if we have two lines that are parallel to each other, then that means this angle here is equal to this angle, and so forth. And remembering that a straight line is considered 180 degrees, okay? Lines that are perpendicular to each other are at 90-degree angles. So you just do the math. We've got 47 here. Subtract that from 90 would give you this angle here, which would be 43. Okay, so having remembered that, if we go with a protractor, and because what we're given in the textbook there is 47 degrees from the vertical. And so I take my protractor, and most of these will have an index line and an intersect line. This one in particular has a little magnifying bubble right there. Some will have a hole. Okay, and so you line that up, and because we're going from the vertical to the left. So I line up on the point, get my vertical line right, my horizontal line in the right place. And then I would come up here and count back 47 degrees, 5, 6, 7. Make me a little mark. And then draw that up. To the line at the top that I already had a construction line across there. And then that one comes down to the 0.5 and goes to the left of 0.5. And then once I have those in, I can finish out my my lines here at the top. But I should have, I need some breaks in my hidden lines up here. So I'll just put those in and come back in and erase my hidden lines right at those points so that I can clean them up. Now go back and put my my hidden lines back in with a gap where the visible lines were. And this particular this line here, when we project it over the side view, is behind this line, so there would be no hidden line there. Okay, and that looks pretty good there. So that one, just a couple of little things, you know, that are different from the ones that you had before. But there it is. That's got your drawing. Fill in your title block, and then there you go.